Hello everyone, this is Anurag Jain, product manager with Entrust, and today we are going to talk about automating security for Linux servers and applications with Entrust CA Gateway CLI tools. So in today's session, we are going to cover a few critical things in terms of securing your infrastructure and dev environment. Uh, First thing is how you can make sure that your infrastructure as a code is secure from the get-go and how it should be designed, keeping security in mind. Second thing is we will go through and we will have a quick overview of Entrust PKI stack, especially the CA gateway piece, which is our REST-based API interface to talk to certificate authority. And third, and the most important thing is a quick demonstration on how you can use that command line interface tool to automate deployment of the certificates and keys for securing your Linux servers and applications. And those Linux servers and applications can be your web applications, your web servers like Apache, Tomcat, and database servers, your microservices. So, any of those Linux applications and servers, how you can leverage the CLI tool along with the Entrust PKI stack to secure that infrastructure. Security should not be an afterthought in DevOps. That's very important thing. Generally we make a mistake. We are we have our CI/CD process well defined. We know that a new build is coming, a new patch is coming, and we deploy it immediately and get services running. And without even considering that leaving your web application, leaving your database server unprotected even for a minute or even for an hour can make it exposed or vulnerable to various threats and attacks. So having your application secured from the get-go itself is very critical. What's best than just deploying your infrastructure and making sure that all the keys and certificates are already there to protect the infrastructure, and that will make sure that your application and infrastructure is secured from those threats and attacks from the get-go itself. Before diving into the exact CLI tool itself, I would like to take a moment to talk about the CA Gateway itself, which is our REST-based API interface. So, CA Gateway is a mutually authenticated TLS-based tool. It's a REST-based interface which provides a CA agnostic API layer for all the certificate authorities which are supported by CA Gateway today, and that include Entrust certificate authorities like Entrust PK as a service, Entrust ECS, which is Entrust SSL solution. Third-party CAs including Microsoft CA and AWS. So the CA gateway comes with it's an open API based interface, so it comes with a Swagger based documentation which you can refer, and these are the different endpoints that you can see or that you can use while using CA gateway. So some of the key takeaways from today's session. So first thing is that moving from a regular DevOps to a DevSecOps is not challenging at all if you have the right set of tools available. So apart from providing highly scalable and highly resilient solutions for the PKI needs, we also Entrust also provides works on providing certain tools which you can leverage to make this journey as easy as possible without you requiring in-depth PKI knowledge or cryptographic knowledge, right? So even if you are new to PKI, you can still make use of these tools using your existing knowledge of Shell, using your existing knowledge of other tools like PowerShell and Ansible, and you can still secure your infrastructure at the time of deployment of the network itself. Second thing is, and this is really critical. I mean, at the time of DevOps, we even if we are putting the identities, if we are putting those strong keys and certificates on these infrastructure components, it is very critical to manage those. It's possible that you have an outdated key and certificate lying there on a system, and even if you assume that you have put all the right keys, it's still vulnerable to different attacks. It has not been updated to match the latest regulations or requirements. So having a good visibility into all the keys and certificates and ability to manage those is equally critical. And you can achieve all of these things through Entrust PKS stack, which include components like CA Gateway and Certificate Hub, which provide complete certificate lifecycle management capabilities. And third component is third key takeaway is a suite of products that are provided by Entrust PKI, which you can leverage in your own environment, in your own DevOps or developer environment to secure your infrastructure from day one itself. So, without further ado, these utilities that we are going to talk about today, they are available on Entrust GitHub page. Here's the link, and here's the actual GitHub page where this particular utility has been hosted along with the complete documentation and the required shell script itself. So to be able to talk to CA Gateway, you need a set of client credentials yourself. It can be used, it can be retrieved as a PKCS12 file. It can be used in format of a GKS, but you still need a client credential to talk to CA Gateway. So, how you can use the self-service platform of PK as a service to get those credentials, how to leverage those credentials in this script to perform different operations like listing all the certificate authorities, listing all the certificate profiles associated with the certificate authority, requesting new certificate, revoking a certificate by serial number, and other operations like bulk certificate issuance. So to perform these certificate related operations, to issue the certificate and managing those certificates, you would need a client credential, and you can follow the documentation above to do that. You can go to this repository, you can download the required files. Basically, you would need this shell script file as well as your client credentials file, and you should be good to go. I've already, for the sake of this session, I've already downloaded the required components. I have my client credentials basically stored as a cagateway.p12 file. I have my shell script, copied here. I've also created a CSV file for the bulk issuance. If you look into this file, and we'll go through it, right? How we can, leverage this particular CSV file to bulk issue certificates. But yeah, I've provided a simple, comma separated file where you can provide information like what is the common name of the certificate you're looking for, the key length, and the key algorithm. So to run some of these operations, let's quickly go through a quick demo. So, and it's a interactive utility which you can modify, you can change as per your needs, but yeah, it does perform some of these operation out of the box. It will request for a few things, like for example, you would need a client credential to talk to CA Gateway, and that is my CA Gateway.p12 file. And typically a PKCS12 file is password protected. So I've just pasted my password here. You would need to provide an endpoint, like, what is the CA gateway endpoint you're trying to reach to request your certificate. And I'm using my own demo instance for PK as a service. And now you can see all the operations. All the operations that you saw on the GitHub page, starting with generating the CSR locally. I've already done that step, so I'm not going to repeat it, but we use OpenSSL under the hood to perform this particular operation. So instead of you, going to a different tool set to get your CSR, you can do that here itself. You can start with some of the operations like listing all the certificate authorities. So as I discussed earlier, CA Gateway does provide a single interface, a single REST API based interface to talk to multiple certificate authorities. And this particular instance is talking to one issuing certificate authority, which is the PK as a Entrust PK as a service certificate authority, and a root CA. So all of our issuance is going to happen through the issuing CA itself. So I'm going to use this one for the further demo. And you need this CA ID to perform next set of operations. So, to be able to retrieve or issue a certificate, you not only need the certificate authority information, you also need the certificate profile, like what type of certificate you're looking for, right? So some of the pre-configured certificate profiles on this particular certificate authority are these. So you can have certificate profiles which are required for TLS based client and server authentication. If you're using PEP, so for your IoT devices, you can have all these profiles configured on your PK as a service instance at the time of procurement of PK as a service solution. So for today's session, I'm going to use the TLS client server profile, and I'm going to go to this option where I'm going to enroll new certificate with CSR. So I already have a CSR generated. I'm going to use that with the same issuing CA that we discussed a moments back. This is my certificate profile. Uh, I can provide the CSR location here. And this is where my final certificate will be stored. So say, and I need to give a common name, and you can also define subject alternative names here. So this is especially critical if you are trying to use, or if you're planning to use this particular certificate with a web server like Apache web server, right? So Apache web server does mandate that you put the domain name, a fully qualified domain name, as one of the subject alt names. So I'm going to put example.com in DNS name here, and let me put information like this. I don't want any more subject alt name, although you can still, if you want, you can add IP address, and based on your requirement, you can add other subject alt names here. But I'm just going to use this, and it has created the certificate, at this particular location. So let's quickly check this. Uh, So I've got my certificate generated here. We can actually, look into the content of the certificate uh, through this command. So if you look into the details of the certificate, it is issuer is my PK as a service issuer. The subject is same as I provided, in the utility above, and we should have a DNSCS. So this is the subject alt name which we requested. So basically with a simple command line tool, we have been able to perform a really complex cryptographic operation, which is using a CSR and getting it signed from a particular certificate authority. Let's just go over, one more example where we can do a bulk issuance, and that's a really relevant use case if you have thousands of devices or thousands of endpoints where you want to leverage this utility, and you want to issue thousands of certificates in a single go. So you can use something like bulk certificate issuance. So option 6, and I'm going to use the same bulk issue.csv file. You can create your own CSV file, and that should work. And I want an RSA type of certificate, and the key length of 2048. This is my file, and that's where I want my certs to be present. So let's go to this location. And as you can see, it has generated the key file and the cert file for both the line items that I showed in that particular CSV file. So this is the end of today's session, and please feel free to reach out to us if you have any question.